Welcome back, Big Apple Banter listeners. Welcome to episode 20. We're going to be talking college football here today, and I'm joined by three of my good buddies who I met at Vikings training camp last summer. When we got there, we all realized that, we're just big college football fiends. So I'm going to turn it over to Owen, Nate, and Zorin. So, fellas, how are we feeling today?
Feeling
Man,
great.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
That's what I like to hear. All right, so we're just going to get straight into it. So, as we all know, recently the AP poll, AP Top 25 got released, and I want to take an initial reaction to it. So, I'll start by reading the top 25. So, from top to bottom, 1 to 25, we got Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, Miami, Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, Florida, SMU, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Indiana, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Texas, Tennessee, and Boise State. So, fellas, what are the initial reactions here?
Yeah, so obviously at Penn State, was thinking that we should have had that number one spot. Not gonna lie.
Wow,
I think
that's a bold statement. I mean,
That's
they're
a
good.
bold
They're a good
statement.
football team. They're a good football team, but that is.
I think Texas is great. We were only two votes away from being in that number one spot. I think if Arch Manning's last name wasn't Manning, we would have been the number one team.
I think it just in general. I mean, this does sound like a little bit of a casual take because any given Saturday, any given year, a team could be better than the year before. But I mean, Penn State being the number one team in the country, it just doesn't sound right to me. I don't
Doesn't
know.
sound right.
It's a new year, it's a new season, and you'll see. You'll see.
I'm with Zorin. I think because if you look at these top teams, Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, I think anyone can agree those are probably the best three. I mean, do you guys agree with me on that part?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I
think
can
Clemson's a
say
sleeper.
yeah.
Of all these teams,
For sure.
the only ones
We'll get
that's
to that, though.
returning their quarterback is Penn State. And I think returners are huge. Penn State brings back Drew Aller. They bring back their running back.
Drew Aller.
And now they're bringing in Jim Knowles on the defense. If I had to pick one of these three teams to go all the way, I'm picking Penn State. And that's why I think they should be number one.
Wow. So you think the Penn State
We
Nittany
are.
Lions are going to win the college football playoff? Is that what you're saying, Owen?
I would say, as of right now,
As of
they
right
have
now.
the best built team to win.
I
Now
guess
that
if you're,
is
There's a lot of
That's a
question
crazy
marks
take.
with
Let me
Texas
tell
and
you,
Ohio
that's a
State.
crazy take.
They're
They're losing right
here,
here, right behind me. They're gonna lose right here. October 25th.
yeah.
We're marching into town.
I'll be there. I'll see you.
I hope
Please
I'm
do.
there
It's gonna be a-
too. That'd be
awesome.
a fun trip.
Be a
I mean,
fun trip.
I don't disagree, especially to your point about returning quarterbacks. I think that plays a huge factor. I mean, Arch started one game, maybe got less than total like 12 quarters of action all season last year. I mean, I think his name does hold a lot of weight. And I mean, I think in maybe not to the extent that he is being hyped up, but I think, I mean, it's partly valid. I mean, I think he is a quality player, but I mean, I think being a first year full-time starter is going to lead to, growing pains and stuff. So I don't think they're super hot out of the gate, but, I mean, I guess we'll see, but that's my thoughts on that.
Who do we have week one? Ohio State or Texas? Who y'all got?
Ohio State. It's at home. I don't think they don't lose at home. They got like a 91% winning percentage at home in the last 10 years. I think that's a wash right there. I think it will be a good game, but Arch, first game in the shoe. I'm sorry. And I hate Ohio State.
Yeah, as a born and raised Michigan fan, I'm still taking Ohio State here. Having to go into the horseshoe week one, again, I think his only one or two starts was against like University of Louisiana, like Monroe. It's gonna be a little bit of a different going in the shoe, playing against a top-ranked defense that has Caleb Downs and a lot of other high recruits. I still think it's gonna be close, but I'm still gonna take Ohio State.
I really think the schedule makers did Texas a huge solid, making this a noon kickoff game. No one wants to play in the shoe at nighttime, but I mean Texas, they're an SEC team now. They're used to playing in tough environments on the road. I do agree with you guys. I think Ohio State wins this game narrowly, just being at home, first week of the season. I just think the juice is going to be there, but I do think it's going to be a close game. But I think Texas got, quite a bit of help here, personally.
Welcome to the Big Ten, buddy.
I'm gonna disagree with all you guys. I think I got Texas this one. I think with the defense that they're bringing, I think Arch definitely has to show up. But I think Ohio State lost all of their defensive line. They're coming in with 2 new coordinators, so that's gonna be the first game that they're battling that offensive defensively. I think they do have the home field advantage, so it wouldn't be crazy if they won. But I think if Arch is who everyone thinks Arch is gonna be, then they should win.
I can respect that take. I mean, Ohio State did lose about a third of their team. New offensive defensive coordinator, like you said. Who knows? Week 1 too.
New quarterback,
Yeah.
new running backs. I mean, of course, the receiver core we already know how that is, and they always have good DBs. But there's just some question marks that Texas may not have. But again, if it was at Texas, I would have Texas easily. But Ohio State makes me teeter it a little bit.
That's fair. All right, so let's move on. Take a look at our biggest sleepers in this AP Top 25. All right, let's start with Zorin. Who's your biggest sleeper going into this year?
Yeah, I got a couple. First, got to start off with the alma mater, LSU. I know we haven't had our fair share of first game season wins. But I think with one of the best transfer portal classes, Blake Baker going into year 2, getting Harold Perkins back with the Weeks brothers. We brought in a ton of wide receivers. You know how we produced that. Garrett Nussmeier going into year 2. If you reflect back to when Jaden Daniels went into his year 2, he won the Heisman. I think our schedule is not necessarily favorable, but I think with all the pieces that we got, could get better. Some other sleepers, I think Illinois will have a good team with a favorable schedule. They don't play Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, none of the big hitters. They do play Ohio State, but I think they play them at home. Texas Tech could be something special. They got the transfer portal class. They got all the players now and all the money that they got. We'll see if that coaching staff comes into play. But other than that, I think everyone's kind of where they're at.
I mean, I got to start off, give a shout out to the Hawks. I mean, unranked, rightfully so. I got to say, I'll admit, that's all right. We got a new quarterback, new system coming in, and a pretty loaded schedule. I think we're at least taking down Oregon or Penn State at home. But moving in, into the top 25, I hate to say it, but I think Georgia should be a little higher. I think they will end up a little higher.
I disagree with that heavily, personally.
I disagree.
I know you hate Georgia, and that's all right, and I do too. But I think Penn State's a bunch of frauds. I think Ohio State is not going to have as good of a year.
He's bringing out the big guns. Okay.
And I think Texas is a bit of a fraudulent team as well. And I don't know. We'll see.
And you think Iowa's the truth?
Oh, I think Iowa's the truth. I think Mark Gronowski is the truth. 100%.
South Dakota's finest?
Yes, sir. The Jackrabbits.
Wow. That's a bold take there, Nate. I won't lie.
I'll stand by it.
There you go. All right, Owen. What do you got?
I'm going to take it to the Big 12. I'm going to go TCU.
Wow.
Here's my reasoning for this. So they're unranked. We all know they went to the national championship. People want to say it's a Cinderella. And then the next year they lost almost all of their starters. I think they lost 20 of 22 starters. They went 5-7 the following year. This past year they went 9-4. Have a quarterback by the name of Josh Hoover. If you look at his stats last year, he had almost 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, and completing 66% of his passes. Don't look now, but he is a sleeper, dark horse Heisman candidate. TCU has a very difficult schedule. The first half of this upcoming year, they play North Carolina week 1 versus Bill Belichick. That's going to be an interesting game. They play SMU, they play Arizona State, Colorado, and Kansas State. But if you look at their last 6 games, they have pretty easy competition. And I think they're going to be trending on the right direction when all these rankings are coming out. And I think that is going to matter to them. So I think TCU being unranked, probably the most underrated team. Their DBs are some of the best in the country, and they return both of their starting corners as well as their starting safeties. They're actually ranked the 5th best DB coverage team last year. Again, they were 5-7 2 years ago. They were 9-4 last year. And then they're returning a bunch of starters. Their over-under in Vegas is 6.5, and I'm hammering the over. I think they're going to be in the Big 12 championship and sneak into the playoff.
Wow. That is I like that.
I like that. You backed it up. I can't even argue with that.
That's good shit.
I don't think they'll be good, but I love the analysis, and I don't
Me too.
the facts, and I don't even know.
Hey, that's the point of the segment, though.
I'm trusting in Sonny Dykes and Josh Hoover to bring him.
All right, so I guess I'll give him mine. I don't think it's really a surprise who I'm about to talk about, just because the alma mater. The damn Florida Gators might be the most slept-on team in the country. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that because I think Florida is actually properly rated in this AP poll. However, I think they have the potential to jump up the AP poll, if that makes sense. Florida, I mean, it's no secret they play the hardest schedule in the country. 4 top 10 opponents. You got 7 opponents in the top 25. So that's no joke. But if you look past the schedule and just look at this roster altogether, I think Florida has not only one of the best rosters this season, but they have a bright future ahead of them too. If you look at the quarterback, DJ Lagway, I think he's 6th or 7th in the Heisman ranking. That man showed flashes last year. Like you guys saw there. I mean, you were in person there at the LSU Florida game last year. DJ Lagway, he was a baller. I mean, that game was, he was coming off a leg injury that game. But you know my point. Having a good quarterback, I think he has a lot of potential. It helps you win football games. And he's returning. I mean, he only started 6 games last year, but in those 6 games, 6-0. So that's my take on that. We have a sneaky good wide receiver room at Florida. Trey Wilson, he was hurt most of all last season, but he was highly touted going into last season as a playmaker, and I think he's going to take that next step forward, and hopefully he gets to stay on the field. True freshman, Dallas Wilson. I mean, he's tweaked up right now, a little hamstring, lower body injury, but the footage at a camp has been spectacular. You got J. Michael Sturdivant, transfer from UCLA. I believe he's 6'3", 6'4", can make a ton of contested catches. You got 5-star freshman Vernell Brown. Like, there are pieces for Florida to win this year on offense, not to mention the number 1 ranked returning offensive line from last season with first-team All-American Jake Slaughter at center. Like, this team has it. Oh, and let's not forget, they're returning one of the best defensive lines in all of college football, I think, in my opinion. You got projected first-round pick Caleb Banks. You got projected first-round pick Tyreek Sapp. This team is going to be scary. We got to hope that DJ stays healthy because Lord knows that quarterback room is thin. Aiden Warner, we saw what happened there at the Texas game last year. I think we lost 49-17, something like that. It was horrible. But I think this team has the ability, if they put it all together and stay healthy, which, you can say that about a lot of teams, but this team has the potential to do, I think go not only make the college football playoff, but go deep into the college football playoff. They're over under 7.5, but they have the 12th best odds to win the national championship. So what does that tell you?
I like that. I like Lagway for Heisman. I love Lagway for
my
Heisman.
boy. Let's go.
Yeah.
I say Lagway or bust. I think you're totally right. I just concerned if Lagway stays healthy and the other pieces. I think you guys got a lot of injury problems.
Yeah.
But putting that aside, if you are healthy and you got your roster and you got your team, no, I'm not sure about your depth. But I would agree, and that's why you guys were ranked 15. Because if Lagway's good, future's bright. If he's not, or he ain't on that field, though,
you gotta be on the field.
I got Billy.
Yeah, no, that's fair, and I think we're going to talk on some coaches on the hot seat later on in this episode. But yeah, Billy Napier. I mean, his job is tied to DJ Lagway and possibly his health. Well, why don't we move on now to teams with all bark, no bite. They're a little rated too highly. We think they're gonna come crumbling down. Owen, let's start with you.
I'm gonna take it back. Another Big 12 team here. A team that almost took Texas's money if it weren't for a ref job at the end. I'm taking Arizona State as being overrated.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong. It was a great Cinderella story. I love Cam Scatterbo. I know he's on your team now, Matt.
Let's go. Scatterboo!
With that being said, my bad. Scatterboo.
I think it's Scatterbo, actually. I have no idea.
Whatever his name is. Replacing his production is going to be a little too difficult. I love what Coach Dillingham's doing down there. I love, I think they're trending in the right direction, but them being ranked 11th, I think is too high. They're replacing 2,300 yards of offense and 21 touchdowns. I mean, that is a lot to replace, and I bet none of you can even name who the hell the running back is right now. They did go 11-3 last season, and I think Sam Levitt has a lot of promise. But last year, Sam Levitt, 2,800 yards, and again, Scatterbo having 2,300. You're placing almost 40% of your offensive production. Sam Levitt was the benefactor of having a great running back who they could rely on. If you guys watched that Texas game, they were dead in the water. Their offense wasn't moving the ball at all until Scatterbo just starts taking over. He starts throwing touchdown passes more than Levitt. Levitt actually only threw for 52%, no touchdowns versus Texas, and an interception as well as taking 3 sacks. So I don't think they can perform in those big games. The Big 12 is deeper than ever. And I really just don't trust it. Everyone's like, oh, they got Jordan Tyson, projected first-round wide receiver, but he's been having injury issues. He's been held out of practice with an ankle injury. He had a collarbone issue last year. FanDuel has their over-under at 8.5, and I really wouldn't be surprised if they won 7 or 8 games. But I think 11th is crazy overrated for a team with 8.5 over-under wins.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Are they the Big 12 favorites? I mean, they got to be, right? Going into to win the Big 12 championship.
Right now, Kansas State is number 1 at plus 600. So it's really up in the
That's
air.
up in the air.
All right, Nate, what do you got for us?
As a Big Ten fan, and I just don't know how Illinois is up at 12. Quite honestly, I mean, I like Brett Bielema. I think he runs a good program over there. They did show a little promise last year in the Cheez-It Bowl against South Carolina, who is honestly my second pick for most overrated team. Most overrated team is Illinois at 1 and 2 at South Carolina. Right back to back at 12 and 13. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, I love Lenore Sellers. He's great, but I mean, they have a tough schedule. I don't think they're cut out to beat anyone in the SEC. But back to Illinois, they let Purdue, arguably the worst team, one of the worst teams in college football, score 49 points last year.
They were horrible. Purdue was god-awful.
They're god-awful. I'm concerned about that defense. I don't think they can compete at a high level and make a deep run at all if they're letting Purdue score 49.
Yeah, just bring it back to Kansas, bro. We absolutely whiffed against Illinois. I mean, we let Luke Altmaier look like he was Tim Tebow out there, dude. He was running all over us. He made us look like a poverty team. And another choked win, which, helped Illinois. They had a lot of those sneaky wins out there, I think.
They had a lot of those, and I think that's one of the only reasons they're so high this year. I mean, even South Carolina in that bowl game, they didn't look as good as they had been playing. But I don't think either of those teams are the truth, I'll be honest.
All right, Zorin, what do you got for us?
All right. So I got 2. Start with the Georgia Bulldogs. I didn't like what I saw from the quarterback towards the end of the season when he had to replace Carson Beck. I know Georgia typically has a good – Stockton, yep. I know Georgia typically has a good team. I think they'll still have a good team. I just don't think 5 right now is where I would put them. The quarterback is shaky. They're 40% of their team is freshman or sophomore. They're a very young team. Probably Kirby's youngest team. So interested to see how that's going to play out. On the offensive side of the ball, they do got some good pieces. They got Zachariah Branch. He's going to go crazy. Some other transfer pieces, but still new. So we're going to see how they've been building out their connections and if they can hit on it. But just a young team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Georgia's still Georgia, but I don't know. It wouldn't shock me with their schedule if some things get shaky and other teams come and play their best game. But we'll find out pretty early with the Bama game week 4. And then my second one is Miami. Carson Beck. Not big on Carson Beck.
I don't think many people should be.
Don't, especially coming back from the surgery. I think he was just on a great Georgia team where all you had to do was plug and play, make a throw here or there, and Georgia would be Georgia. I think he's going to get exposed this year, especially with his little summer drama. And
really not to mention he fumbled a Cavender twin, which is pretty abysmal out of the fellow there. So
he deserves a
big fumble. And I think the fumbles continue, and I think he does has a little spent Rattler season where coming in he was supposed to be 1 or first round pick, played terrible. I think we're about to see the rest of that story.
Yeah, because I mean I agree with you. That started last year. I mean, I saw mock drafts of my New York Giants taking Carson Beck at the 1-1 last year, and he didn't even finish the season as a starter. I mean, it's partly because he got hurt, but that man was on his way out the door. well into the end of last season, and now he finds himself in Miami. I have zero faith in Carson Beck. I 100% agree with you on Miami and Georgia because Gunnar Stockton didn't look good when he took over. I mean, it was a tough situation when he came in, but I feel like this is going to be the first time in a few years where going into the season, Georgia doesn't have a guy that they are confident in rolling with. I mean, Stetson Bennett, when he came in 3 or 4 years ago, I think people were doubting him, and then he obviously showed that he was a great college quarterback. He was a good quarterback. I think this is Georgia's first time with Kirby in 4 or 5 years where they don't really know. I mean, maybe they know, but the rest of the public doesn't know what they're getting out of Gunnar Stockton. And I just think that translates to them, like you said, having maybe a disappointing season. For me, the team that I chose, I want to clarify that I think this overrated part is based on where they are in the top 25. I still think this team, I'm sure we think Georgia's still going to have a great season, but they won't live up to that standard of being at the number 4 or 5 spot. My team is Ohio State. I just think they lost so much talent into the draft last year. I mean, it's hard when you win a national championship, it makes sense that a lot of your best players are NFL caliber players. So I think there's a lot of unknowns on that team. I mean, you still got superstars in Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, but I think from where they are, I still think they'll be a good quality team, but I don't think they're quite worthy of being the 3 spot. And, part of me, I could definitely see and agree with you that Texas could go into the shoe and win week 1. Still out of Ohio State just because it's early in the season, Arch's first real test on the road. But, I mean, after that, I don't know. I feel like this season's destined for a little bit disappointment coming off of a national championship.
Who we got for the big one? The big game, Ohio State or Michigan. I mean, very early to tell, but if we had to pick right now.
Owen, I want to hear your thoughts
I
on
want
this.
to hear your take.
Okay.
For all you guys that don't know, Owen is a big Michigan guy. I don't know if you mentioned that earlier, but
born and raised in Michigan. Got to go to the game 2 years ago at the Big House when Jim Harbaugh was suspended. Absolutely electric crowd. I should be there this year, heading back.
Hey.
Who knows if I'll get a ticket? Last time I got one for free, luckily, but that was the most expensive college football game of all time. Tickets were like at least $600 to get in. So just making that clear. But here's why. One, it's at home. I don't know if you guys look at who wins this game. Obviously, home field advantage matters, but I think it's the last 24 matchups. Whoever leads in rushing, whoever is winning the rushing battle wins the game. That's what Ohio State tried to do this year. They tried to outmaneuver. They tried to outrun their team, even though their strength was with their pass catchers, as it's been, them becoming wide receiver U. So they tried to out physical, and that's why they lost. They didn't play to their strengths. They tried to play this identity game, and then you saw them actually play to their real identity, which is passing the ball, and that's why they end up going the run they have. But here's why I'm taking Michigan. As we all believe, Bryce Underwood's going to be starting. By this game, he'll have 11 games under his belt. I mean, he's going to be on the road against Oklahoma in week 2. He's going to have that experience by then. Their rushing game should be good by then. And they have a lot of good young offensive linemen. They're just a really young team with some veteran leaders. But by the time this game comes around in November, I mean, you're late in the season. Your team identity's formed, and they're going to be ready to run the ball down Ohio State's throat. Ohio State losing all their D-line. I mean, they got Caleb Downs, but outside of that, their defense is a lot weaker. They don't got Jim Knowles to scheme against it. I really think that Michigan, this game does play to their strengths, and I think that's why they're going to take it home.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think Michigan's going to win with it being at home. If Bryce Underwood is who LSU thought he was going to be, then they'll be in for a good one, especially in years. Well, last year they had nobody at quarterback. I mean, Owen, you know why, because you keep up with that lot. No clue who that
The walk on, he threw for
now
62 yards and 2 picks.
So having now five-star plus quarterback, best quarterback in America coming out of high school, they're probably going to do some good things, especially with the backfield they got. They know we know that they can run the ball. That's the thing. But now having some potentially some throwing action, bringing in a new OC and adding some offensive pieces. And we know Michigan defense is Michigan defense, and they are heating up toward the end of the season. So they're actually one of the teams that I would have said would have been slept on as well, because I think they won like their last 6 games, including beating Ohio State and destroying Alabama. If you watch that game, with Jalen Merrill and people, Ryan Williams and all the big names still playing in that. So as of right now, obviously way too early to tell, but as of right now, I pick Michigan.
Let's not forget, Michigan hired a new offensive coordinator named Chip Lindsey. He's coming over from North Carolina. You know who he developed and who said that he was a big help? Drake May, Patriots
I knew
quarterback.
that's true. I knew that was coming.
Find a way to work that in there.
Gotta do it.
Develop young dual threat quarterbacks. And after last year's abysmal offensive performance, combining that offensive experience with quarterback development and then taking Sharon Moore's beefy O-line, that's bringing in 2 5-star offensive tackles, bringing a lot of good depth on the interior line. I think by November, that offense is going to be running very smoothly.
No, I agree with you both. I think Michigan's got a lot of momentum coming into the season. I agree with you that Bryce Underwood hopefully will have some development momentum, especially by the time week 11 or whatever you were saying when they play Ohio State. I think they're a slept-on team, and I agree with you both, especially Matt on Ohio State. That's kind of a pity number 3 in the country. You win the national championship. I think you deserve a top 5 AP ranking. But I think it's more of just for show. I think, as you guys both said, they lost a lot of their team. By then, I think these teams could be totally flipped. I mean, who knows?
No, absolutely. To your point, Owen and Zorin and Nate too, I guess. But having nothing can quite change your program around. Like having a new 5-star quarterback come into the building. I know better than anybody with DJ Lagway last year. I mean, the whole buzz around the program just flipped. And you combine that with Michigan's end to the season. They're on fire. I think it really bodes well for Michigan in that game. I agree. And plus, my thoughts on Ohio State, like Nate mentioned, I don't think Ohio State's going to be back to that national championship caliber team. So I'm going with Michigan as well. I think that's 4 for 4 for all of us. So we're gonna move on to some bold predictions for this season. We're gonna try to make these bold enough, and then we'll give them a little score out of 10. See who's cooked up the boldest.
Wait, sorry, just for some clarification. Bold as in a good bold or like a bad bold, or it doesn't matter?
It could be whatever you want. Like it could be you think Alabama's gonna go 3-9 this year, or mine's more of a positive one, I would say. But
I'll go last. I want to hear y'all's, and then I'll cook up mine.
All right, let's go, Nate.
Hawks to the playoffs. Started off right there.
Oh,
I mean, we got a tough back half of the schedule. Hear me out. We got Penn State at home. I think we either beat them. If it's a night game in Kinnick, I think we drop them. And if it's a night game, we play Oregon 2 weeks later.
We'll get Oregon. You won't get us.
I think we might get Oregon or you guys. We'll see. I mean, I'm a Drew Aller. I don't believe in him. I think he's a fraud at quarterback. I genuinely do not think he is an NFL talent. He's not somebody I'd want on my team. But that being said, I think it's realistic from your end. To have some speculation about my take. I think it's realistic. We got a new quarterback coming in, new OC.
That's the point.
I don't know. I mean, I think we got a good team this year. I think we could surprise some people. We have a bit of a tough schedule in the back half. We play Indiana, they're on a little bit of a run. Granted, I don't think they'll be all that this year. And I think we could get some big names on the resume. If we take down Oregon, who I really don't think is going to be as good as they were last year, I think that'll look good enough to maybe get us into at least some chatter about the playoffs. But we'll see.
I mean, that's pretty bold, if you ask me. The fact that we spent the first 10 minutes of this show talking about Penn State and being the number 1 team in the country, and no offense to Iowa's home field advantage, but I don't think them or Jesus Christ is going to stop Penn State from going
I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes, though, Matt. I've seen it with my own eyes.
That's
3 years ago, 2021, we took them down when they were the 3rd team in the country. Took them down. Only we did lose to Purdue as the 2nd-ranked team in the country 2 weeks later, which was a bit of a tragic end. But I think we got it in it. I mean, Kinnick night games did a few years ago when Michigan was number 3 in the country. It's nothing to play about.
A few years ago, right? That was like 2016 or something.
That was 2016, I will say, a few years
ago. Decade ago. Nate, do you know off the top of your head what I was? You don't.
I think they're so high that I actually don't know.
Well, I'm just curious when it comes to giving this a rating. I mean, I love it. Gotta rep your brand. To give that a 9.7, I think. Actually, honestly, fuck it, 10. That's 10.
Dang, like a plus 4,000 for the chip.
Yeah.
That is 10 out of 10, a bold statement. And I cannot wait to see you whatever week it is. We could play tomorrow and it won't make a damn difference.
We need a little time.
We can Penn State by 40. You guys got something coming. Penn State's gonna win the Natty. I came here to win the Natty specifically.
There you go. All right, Owen, what do you got in terms of bold prediction?
I mean, this one I think is highly bold, but I got Georgia missing the college football playoff.
I like it.
I love that.
I think you and Zorin spoke about this earlier. I think Zorin hit it a little bit more. Listen, Gunnar Stockton, you can look at his stats and you'll be like, wow, he's a good completion percentage. Well, his stats are pretty good. But if you actually watch the games, he really struggled to make reads beyond his first read, as well as they're losing Travis Etienne. So I really think their offense is going to struggle. And Kirby Smart, as well as he's run that program, he's a defensive-minded coach. They lost their offensive coordinator 2 years ago to the Ravens. And listen, they got a difficult schedule. Just hear these games, and I want you to say, like, how many is Georgia winning of these? Because they're going to have to win 3 or 4 of these to even be represented. They got week 2 at Tennessee in Neyland, week 3 versus Alabama, so back-to-back, week 5 at Auburn. We don't know what Auburn's going to be, but it's difficult home games there. Week 6 versus Ole Miss. So again, back-to-back you got Tennessee, Bama back-to-back, and then 2 weeks later you got Auburn, Ole Miss back-to-back. And then you bring it to week 8, they're at Florida for you, Matt, and then they play Texas versus home. So they got 3 back-to-back stretches all on that. And I really don't know. I think their defense is going to be really good. I think they're going to be the strong suit. That's where Kirby Smart makes his bread. But on offense, I mean, you got to score points in the SEC. And I just do not understand how they're going to keep up with the Texases, keep up with the Bamas, even Ole Miss. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia finished, in the 4 to 6 range and maybe sneaks in the playoff. But I mean, if they drop 3 or 4 of these and they're, sitting at 9-3, they might be on the border with, a team where even 9-3 Michigan, you have a 10-2 Iowa, maybe, 9-3 Ole Miss. I think head-to-head matchups against these SEC teams are going to be they're in if they don't make it in. So I got Georgia missing the college football playoff. Wouldn't be surprised if they go 8-4, 9-3, and miss the playoff.
I like that take. I mean, that might be my bias poking through, but I think that's bold considering Kirby's track record, and I mean Georgia is a premier program in the country. I think I'm going like a 9-3. I like it. Like a 9-3. I don't know.
Let's also not forget that Carson Beck, he had a decent year, but they didn't end up winning the whole thing. The only time that they succeeded is when they had the old mailman at quarterback when he was, 24, 25-year-old quarterback. That's what it's 6 years. That's more development. And I'm pretty sure Gunnar Stockton's only going to be a junior. So he doesn't have those years under his belt. He doesn't understand the system. He's not played in Todd Monken's offense. There really is no proof of pudding that Georgia can develop quarterbacks, at least not what is there, what's still left there.
I'd say if you know ball, I'd give that like an 8.7. I think, like I already mentioned, with their young roster, I don't believe in the quarterback at all. They play in the SEC. We know how that schedule is going to get. I mean, it is definitely crazy for sure. But on paper, I don't think it's crazy. I think the logo and the Kirby Smart hype, people buy into that and drink on that Kool-Aid. But I can argue 12 teams that can probably compete with them if their season gets a little down to the wire.
Georgia's ranked 4th in the coaches poll and 5th in the AP. I just want to put that out there.
I did notice that.
What were they in the coaches poll?
4.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a path, especially on paper. It doesn't look good. I think a lot of people do buy into that Kirby hype and bank on him being a good coach when it matters most. But we'll see. I mean, I like it. It seems like but the AP and the coach poll are aligned on that. Sometimes will differ on teams here and there. So I personally think this is a little side adjacent. I think this is the first year that Florida beats Georgia in my time being a fan and an alum and a student. We have lost the last 4 years to Georgia in Jacksonville at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. So I think this is the Florida's year to beat Georgia. But that's,
I like that take, Matt.
I'm with you.
That's not my bold prediction. My bold prediction is that Lenoris Sellers wins the Heisman, but South Carolina misses the playoff.
Oh,
so
I love that. In the context of this would be
I don't know if in the exact format that it happened when Jaden Daniels did, but I think it's a similar thing. Like Nate mentioned before, South Carolina lost a lot of defensive starters. Lenore Sellers, if that team's going to be like any good at all, Lenore Sellers is going to have to carry them on his back, which I think he's capable of. But so my prediction is Lenore Sellers does that, but it's Jaden Daniels-esque at LSU where that defense lets them down and they miss the playoffs. And yeah, and that's my take. What do you guys think?
Me personally, I'm a huge fan of that. I think Lenore Sellers is. I mean, he's right behind DJ Lagway, my pick to win the Heisman. Just a little plug for your team over there. Yeah. But I just don't think they have what it takes to actually win games in the SEC at this point. I mean, we really didn't see anything too special from them last season, especially in big moments. But Lenore Sellers is the truth. I mean, it is a crazy take. Like that'd be crazy, but I love it.
It's bold. It's bold for a reason. It's a segment.
I mean, listen, like we were just talking about Georgia, and Matt said, he thinks Florida's going to beat Georgia. Let's not forget, if you look at the schedule, Florida has a bye the week before Georgia. They're going to come out firing. It's week 8. The offense is going to know its identity by that point. Florida's going to take down Georgia, and that's it.
Fuck yeah, I love that. We also support.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy. Florida beats Georgia. DJ is who we think he is. And when do you guys play? How early or late in the season?
It's always Halloween, so I think it's
okay. So a little later.
Oh
yeah, by then
November 1st,
by then,
week 8.
Yeah. Okay. So by then, if DJ's who we think DJ is, and Georgia is who I think Georgia's gonna be, I don't think that's crazy. You guys usually play at a neutral site, right?
Yeah, always in Jacksonville.
Wasn't it close last year, and then he got hurt?
Yeah, so the Florida Gators were actually winning that ball game up until Lagway got hurt. He hurt his hamstring, and then somehow miraculously came back 2 weeks later and beat LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Not a shock. Anyways, back to your point. Yeah, so we were winning that game, and then our backup came in, and Aiden Warner, who was a literal walk-on who transferred in from Yale, took us to a tie ball game with, I believe, 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, 2020, when Georgia scored a touchdown, went up 27-20, and then Aiden Warner threw like a garbage time pick on the last second heave, and they took it back for 6. So it ended up being a 14-point ball game, but that game was tied with 4 minutes left to play. So
yeah, so that's what I thought. So that I don't think that's bold at all, actually.
What at the Lenore Sellers pick? Because that was really the bold one.
That one, I do think it's crazy because I would have a couple of people in front of him for the Heisman, but I think them missing the playoffs with him winning it. I don't know. I think if you look at South Carolina's second half of the schedule, good luck. Oh my gosh. It's a little scary. I won't lie. That's when they play majority of their games. They got LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ranked games in a row. A little cupcake game at Coastal, and then Clemson. So that's when things are gonna get crazy. Real fast. Norris can ball out. I don't know if they win, but if you don't win, I don't know how you win the Heisman, especially when you have Cade Klubnik, Drew Adler, Arch Manning, if he does his thing, Garrett Nussmeier, some other big names that are expected to win some of those games. So that is a bold one. At least for the Norris winning the Heisman.
For the fans at home, Norris has the 5th best odds right now, plus 1,600 on BetMGM, 5th best. We got Arch, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, and Jeremiah Smith sitting above him.
Yeah, with Lenore doesn't really have any weapons. He has that Nick Harbor. So hopefully he can throw it on him somewhere down the field. And then on defense, you really only got Dylan Stewart rushing in. And I forget who was on the other side of him, but he got drafted. So they're gonna have to fill that gap too. So I think they just got the 2 big names. We'll see. They heated up towards the end of the season too. I watched Any Given Saturday. I liked what I saw. But I don't know. And I think Lenore is with that DJ Lagway problem. He got to stay on the field and stay healthy.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree. All right, Zorin, what's your bold prediction?
All right, so I sat with it. I think I'm going to go Notre Dame misses the playoffs. I'm going to go. They made champions, and then they lost their running quarterback. They don't know what to do no more. We already knew the pass game was iffy. They're going to try to pull up Boise State and hand it off to Jeremiah Love all the time. And I don't think that's going to get them that far, especially with everyone knowing that he's going to be getting the ball the majority of the time. And I don't know factually, but I can only imagine that they probably lost a good amount of players as well playing in that big game. So yeah, I think they got a nice little schedule coming up for them too. And we know they usually lose a game that they shouldn't to like a New Mexico or some crazy team like that.
Boston College.
Yeah, so
Northern
haven't had time to
Illinois.
Northern Illinois. Haven't had
Yeah.
time to really sit on it and do my math, but just looking at the AP top 25, Georgia misses, I think. Following up of that, I think Notre Dame misses. And I think keep an eye out for Texas A&M. I think they could potentially make it for this year with Marcel Reed coming back. I personally had to watch what he did to LSU in that second half. That was scary. I think if he can get the throwing game going, which I think he's been working on this offseason, it can be scary with the dual threat option, similar to like a Jaden Daniels. Mike Elko's defense is going to be Mike Elko's defense. They bring it back. Two great running backs, similar to Penn State. One got injured. I think it was Lavon Moss. I think got injured towards ACL, but he'll be coming back. And they got some transfer wide receiver from NC State, Concepcion.
I wanted that dude so bad to come to Florida.
So good.
I think that's a little bit bolder than Owen's pick for Georgia to miss the playoff, and here's why. I just think not having that conference championship game plus their schedule is miles easy. It's still a hard schedule, but it's miles easier.
Is it?
I mean, they got to play at Miami. They got to play Texas Tech. They got to play.
I'm not saying it's an easy schedule, but my point being is
I think it's an easy schedule.
It's easier than Georgia, which is why I think it's bolder for them to miss the playoff. If that makes sense.
I agree with you.
You have let's say Notre Dame goes 10-2, and then you have an SEC team that's 9-3. I mean, I think if you're on the border right there, the SEC is going to get a 9-3 team over Notre Dame. They have less room for error.
And I think Notre Dame has some sneaky games that we're not talking about. So, of course, they got the Miami and A&M back-to-back. Let's hope that they win those two. All right? Because if they drop.
Yeah, that's like the thing without the conference championship. It doesn't give you the chance to make up for some lost ground. You're right. If you're in the position where I expect Notre Dame to be, I mean, I think it's a benefit.
Then we're not talking about USC or what that potentially could be. That could be a sleeper. And then Syracuse. I'm surprised you haven't said nothing about them, which is crazy, but that could be something too.
I think I'm personally, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but I don't have faith in Syracuse too much because the quarterback situation is you're taking two transfers that one was Notre Dame's backup and LSU's backup, and backup.
Exactly.
So yeah, Ricky. So I just don't have faith in that. I think Fran Brown's a great recruiter. I think he's a good coach, but I just don't have faith in them. Plus, I want to get to this later in another segment. Syracuse has an impossible schedule this year. So they're going to get beat up, I think. And I think that combined with that is why I think Syracuse is going to be less of the team that they were last year. But
that's a tough schedule, Matt.
Look at Syracuse's schedule this year. It actually is very hard.
This is outrageous for Syracuse.
For an ACC school, it is really hard. You play five AP top 25. Yeah, Tennessee in Atlanta, which is basically a Tennessee home game because
that's a wash.
The puck's coming from upstate New York to down to Atlanta for that game. At Clemson,
at Tech, at Miami. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule.
It's the only
at Notre Dame.
Yeah, so it's a really hard schedule. That's why I think they're just gonna be beat up. But I think that's Notre Dame. I could see it happening in theory. I just think it's less likely. I think it's less likely to happen than Georgia missing the playoff, which is why it's bolder. That's what I got.
It is bolder. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Throw some out there.
I like it.
We're just throwing out bold takes, and if it hits, that's fucking sick because. That clip.
If it hits, we gotta run this back.
All right. So is SEC and Big Ten bias a thing?
I mean, it's a sky blue. Is there bias? Yes. Come on. We can obviously see it's a dual alliance between the SEC and the Big Ten. There's a USA Today. I think we've all seen this where, we have a 12-team playoff right now. They're looking to expand to 14 or 16 teams. Why? Is it about money? Yes. Is it also about the SEC and Big Ten trying to take over more playoff spots? Yes. They proposed the 4-4-2-2-1-1, which means 4 teams automatic bids from SEC, 4 teams automatic bids from the Big Ten. Expansion is all about getting more teams in there, more revenue for them, and them just taking over college football as it is. I think we can all agree that SEC and Big Ten, yes, they are better conferences overall. But doing these automatic bids every year, 4 teams is a lot. I don't think you should automatically get 4 teams every year. I like how it's set up right now. Obviously, I think scheduling, there should be like reseeding after every round. But the 12-team format is great. You keep those 4 teams with automatic bids, 1 from each conference, and then you just seed them as is. I think that's a great setup. I just think, as we've seen with Ohio State and how that goes, you do need some reseeding after that. So do I like this, pushing for 14-team and 16-team playoff? Hell no. This is just a way for the SEC and Big Ten to kind of monopolize their revenue and take over that bias. I think, yes, they are better conferences, but pushing for 4 automatic for each of them, that's just pushing it too far. I like how it is right now. So I think the bias is real, but don't let it take over my damn playoff. I've been seeing like March Madness, they're trying to get it to like 120 teams. I mean, what the hell?
We ain't about that. We ain't about
You
that.
just stop expansion, understand that some things are better left as is, some things are perfect, you don't touch it, just leave the game to it. There comes in cycles of top years and down years for the SEC and Big Ten. So, I don't want Indiana go and get, shoved in a locker by Notre Dame again or something like that. So let's just calm down with this.
I agree with you. I don't want it to keep going, but I think the reality of the situation is that it's going to keep going. I mean, it is about money, and the SEC, like you said, SEC and Big Ten hold all of the cards in here because there is no playoff without the SEC and the Big Ten, like straight up. So I think the only ACC winner, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm forgetting somebody, is Clemson in the last, other than FSU in the last like 15 years, I think. So that's my take on that. It sucks that it's expanding. I wish they could find a way to combat it where I think it would make, personally as a fan of the SEC and someone that loves Florida, I think it would make the regular season. I mean, the regular season is already awesome, but like fighting, and the way we work is the top 4 teams in conference standings get the automatic bids. I think that'd be electric personally for my enjoyment. But
going back on that, here's why I'm against it. Because when you have 4 is a lot for each conference, and there's certain years where teams are just not good. So listen, if there's a year where, the SEC or the Big Ten has, 5 great teams and, there deserves to be 5 teams, so be it. But I don't think you should get 4 automatic. That's a lot. Like I can understand 2 because of how deep and how many teams there are, but I think you should go merit-based. You earn your playoff spot. If you have 5 teams or 6 teams from that year, so be it. You have 2 or 3, so be it. But 4 automatic, a little too much.
How are we defining merit-based in this conversation? Because
I agree.
Look at the strength of schedule. Like, where does that come into play? Where the SEC. All right, I'm going to bring this up now because this is going to be part of my argument. If you take a look at the top 16 teams, like hardest ranks of schedule, teams that have 7 or more top 25 teams on their schedule: Florida, LSU, Mississippi State, Oklahoma. Teams that have 6 preseason top 25 teams in their schedule: Arkansas, Kentucky, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Big Ten team, first Big Ten team on the list. Teams that have 5: Alabama, Georgia, Purdue, Big Ten, Texas A&M, and the first one that's not in either of those 2 is Syracuse with 5. I think the bias exists, but I think in certain cases it's a valid bias because they have to go to war every week when you could be Virginia in the ACC and have the easiest schedule in all of college football. And if they had a quality program, which they don't, it stinks, dumpster fire. Like they would have like an automatic qualifier into the ACC championship game. Like I just think that's stupid. I don't think you should be rewarded for a cakewalk schedule.
I agree with you there. I mean, I think that was a great take. I mean, as a Big Ten, fan, school, whatever, I am biased, but I think there are just so many teams that don't have to play good quality football teams each week that very well could make the college football playoff. And then I don't want to watch a game that's 40-0 or a big blowout. I think it's a little more competitive gameplay when there are more Big Ten and SEC teams in the playoffs. And I personally am a huge fan of that. But that's just my take.
Let's not forget at the end of last season, we had an 11-1 SMU, and then you had, on outside looking out, you had Miami and you had Alabama, both 9-3. Alabama got the bump over Miami, SEC bias. SMU had to go play a game, so they're 2 wins better. They had to go play a game. They lost on a last-second 60-yard bomb field goal to Clemson, and people were talking about Alabama having, like, they were favored. They were like Alabama's going to go over it's having 2 less wins than an ACC team. So I can understand if it's 1 win apart and you say that team is a more difficult schedule, 10-2 versus 9-3. But I mean, there are people talking about it. Thankfully, SMU got in, but they were talking about there being a 2-game buffer between SEC and ACC. I can understand a 1-game buffer, but a 2-game buffer, I think that's when the bias starts going crazy. And like you said, Matt, all these they have 7 ranked teams. This is preseason polls, but I think the season's going to look a lot different. And let's not forget that the SEC goes and plays, Our Lady Sisters of the Blinds in week 9 and 10 to get a little bit of a free week. So,
not every SEC team.
Big Ten doesn't do that. That's all I'm going to say,
The Big Ten doesn't do that. That's true. Well, Purdue, Rutgers.
Yeah, as long as I've been in Florida, the only FCS teams we've played are like Eastern Washington once. Played like 3 at Samford and 1 other. Florida has gotten drilled by the schedule the last 4 years. But my point is the top of the SEC schedules are some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. And then, there are some that skate by. So maybe those teams, I think they have to find, bottom line, I think they have to find a metric where they can, strength of schedule should be the metric, but I think there's got to be more variables to it. And to your point about teams at the beginning of the season not the same at the end of the season, I bet I haven't done this research, but if you were to go look at the end of last season, you'd still find some of these teams in the SEC with schedules where they still played 7 AP top 25 teams. They're just different teams in the SEC.
For sure. No, 100%.
All right. I think this is an easy combo. SEC is the best conference in college football. That's not up for debate, even in the Big Ten right now.
Who's the last 2 champions?
Yeah, but if you look at conference
as a whole,
yeah,
I'll give
conference
it to
as a whole.
I'll give it to you.
SEC's top heavy.
Top heavy.
No.
Nick Saban ain't there anymore, guys. It's okay to admit that SEC isn't what they used to be.
It shows in ranked teams. It shows in players drafted.
Players drafted for sure.
Well, Big Ten has a lot of players drafted.
I think yes, there is definitely an SEC and Big Ten bias. Absolutely. To Owen's point, is the sky blue, definitely. I think it would not be crazy if they made a power conference here down the line.
I don't want to see that though.
I don't either, but I don't either. I'm just saying
at all.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think it's possible for sure.
I think you have the SEC, you have the Big Ten, and then you have everybody else.
Yeah.
Then you have your one-offs like Clemson, like that. Which who knows?
We're actively trying to get into the SEC.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is hilarious.
Exactly. So to that point, yeah, definitely a bias. I think you play the best 12 teams, and I think strength of schedule definitely has to come into play. Who did SMU beat last year? Who did Boise State beat last year? Why is SMU and Boise State in my bracket? But I would have way rather see Penn State play Alabama or somebody else play Miami or South Carolina, one of those 9-3 teams. I know, to Owen's point, it would be crazy. The bias would definitely come out if a 9-3 team made it over 11-1 team. I get that. This is just my personal opinion. I would have loved to see a better team, SEC team, that we or whoever was next in line that could have plugged and played in there rather than these blowouts. SMU having a first round bye, that's crazy. And I don't agree with the automatic bids. Put in the best 12 teams.
Yeah.
And let's see how things play out.
I agree.
Yeah. The automatic bids, especially the way they formatted the playoff this year was just garbage. With the conference winners being the bye teams, that was stupid.
And then they all lost.
Yeah,
all the first round bye lost.
It was stupid. I hope they can find a balance. It's easier said than done because each conference is pushing their own agenda. But if everyone in a perfect world came together, I think there's there could be a balance to be found in a good format. We've yet to see it. I really hope, to your point, that it doesn't happen the Super Conference, but every day it looks more and more likely. I don't know what would happen. I mean, I think honestly, the ratings would people would still tune in. It's not like college football. College football, as we know, would be ruined, but people would still tune in, which is why I think they're thinking about doing it in the first place. So
I think they'd make even more money, 10 times the amount of money. I mean, if I got to see a Big Ten like Iowa play these big SEC teams week in and week out, I mean, that'd be awesome. It would reflect poorly on our record, I think, to an extent, but It'd be great.
If that happened, though, I think you'd see a lot more between those two conferences. I think the parity of the bottom would get I think it would get a lot closer because all the talent, no one would be. Sorry, Owen, no one would be. Despite their $300 million donation, no one would be going to Kansas or any other smaller Big 12 teams if there was a super conference in this scenario.
There has been rumors of Kansas to the SEC. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
No.
In North Carolina, SEC. And now that we got the money for it, I'm just saying our athletic department can afford the SEC, and we bring a lot of revenue into it. It's not like
you'd come to us instead.
States. I'm just saying. There were rumors of this months ago, and then today getting a $300 million, and a lot of that is going to go into NIL. I mean, listen, you guys might think it sounds good. I know geographically
it can't just go straight into NIL, though. It has to go through people. I mean, that's not to go off on a tangent, but that's like part of my job is we have to figure out how we can funnel these kids money through legitimate companies and going through like the clearinghouse and getting it approved. Like, it's not just pay for play anymore. I think it obviously helps you a ton, like no doubt about it. Like
it's
a shit ton of money, but it's not that simple.
In 25-26, they're about to start having to pay out $20.5 million a year to their student athletes. So it is going to be pay for play.
It's true.
But guess what? NIL is just pay for play. It's just disguised differently. I mean, I think we've all seen it working in college athletics or working in some sort of NIL. You see the behind the scenes. Listen, it's not fooling anyone. We know it's pay for play. Hopefully they have some sort of legislation that will fix it, but they've been doing this for super long. I mean, they're always going to funnel money to get the best players. And I think you guys are going to see Kansas is going to get some high recruits, and you're going to say, what the hell is going on there? And listen, it's just going to be, we got money, we got a new stadium, we got a good coach.
They might do a little Texas Tech.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it'll really help you in the whole facility thing, that sort of arms race to get back to that.
Yeah, we were talking about this disconnected. We were talking about this off stream, but of the $300 million that's going to Kansas, only 75% of that is going towards the next phase of our stadium. So we're talking about $225 million. $225 million. Even if only 10% of that goes to NIL, we're talking about over $20 million in NIL probably. Listen, we're losing our quarterback after this year. You know damn well we are going to bring in some good recruits. We did just bring in back-to-back years of having our best recruiting class of all time. This isn't even a bias thing. I've worked inside the facilities. I will go on it, bro. Kansas, you're going to look at it in 2 or 3 years. They're going to be at the top of the Big 12, and a huge reason of that is because of money. It's the new age of college football, and it's going to propel us.
I think no doubt it's going to help you. I think that point, that money for the pay for play, the $20.5 million every season, that's going to be huge because not every athletic department in the country can come damn well close to affording that. So that gives you a whole step up over like anybody, honestly, in the Big 12 that comes to mind right away.
I want to hear Nate and Zorin's thoughts on this.
On the whole NIL bit?
Yeah, I just want to, with like, you know, as the future of college football, just kind of what you see and basically how we're going with NIL and how that affects everything.
I mean, it's tough. I've been on the fence about it for a while because, I mean, I was not, like, we have the money. We just don't get the recruits. And I think it has helped us to an extent, just using Iowa as an example, get people. But it's been, there's just so many different tiers to it that we're never going to be able to get some of those studs. We're not going to be able to get the superstars that the top SEC teams and the top Big Ten teams like Ohio State and Penn State are going to be able to get, even if we can afford them and pay the same amount of money. I think there's a lot more to it than like kind of what Matt was getting at. I think there's a lot more to it than just having a bankroll. And I think it's got to be bankroll to build a system and a culture that attracts that type of talent. That'll really help. But if you're just using the bankroll to pay players and really not building that culture or system, I don't think it's going to even out the playing field as much as they originally hoped. And that people are kind of just going to funnel to those powerhouses like Ohio State and people that can bankroll and win and get you on that stage where you're going to be an NFL player. So I'm curious to see how it develops in the next couple of years. But there's just so many changes. It's been hard to keep up with everything too. Is what's crazy. I mean, new stuff's coming out every day.
Every freaking day.
It's unbelievable.
Things get floated around. It's crazy.
And it's kind of interesting, like being on, because I was like working on research projects in college on the athletic department side, and then now being on the company side where we're paying athletes. It's kind of just been interesting. I was telling Zorin, like, did that whole NIL Go form from our side today?
Oh, yeah, you had to do that?
I had to do it today. And it was actually, there were only like 4 or 5 questions. off for the first part of it, I think. But it asked us how much money we've paid to the university or donated to the university and stuff. Just trying to, which I think that's a great step. I think it's a great first step in somewhat trying to regulate everything. Granted, I don't think they're really going to.
I think right now it's a great step. I just think that, and I don't blame them because they kind of had to put this together like pretty quickly. I think it's going to change a lot. It's just, it's hard. Like they don't know like what qualifies and what doesn't. So it's going to get better as time goes on.
Yeah.
And there's more defined rules. But to your point, like there's stuff going on.
Yeah, for me, the more money you have, the better. I think we're gonna have to see student athletes become employees. The amounts of money that they're making is just crazy. And then the freedom that they have. I mean, obviously we know from top to bottom we need better legislation. We need better laws and regulations in place because right now it's just out of control. We're just trying stuff. There's a lot of unanswered questions. And what about this and what about that? It's just crazy. But if you got money, it really don't even matter. I'm not gonna lie. So that 300 million is probably definitely gonna put you in a good place, regardless of what the NCAA does. To Matt's point, not everyone's gonna be able to pay that money. I'm fortunate enough to be at a school that can't pay that money, and nothing's gonna change on our end. Not everyone's at a place like that. Luckily, you got that 300 mil, or I would have said, I don't know if Kansas had a place like that. But yeah, I just think it's a crazy world of college athletics. A lot of people are getting out of it because of it, and morals definitely come into play. But I mean, it's a money world. The more money you got, people going to Texas Tech. What there ain't nothing in Lubbock, but they paying a crazy amount of money, so I'm going there. That's just
crazy.
how it is.
That was
now.
gonna be my example too. It is crazy.
Bro, it's like being out in London out there, bro. You would get stabbed if you walk on the wrong street in Lubbock.
I've never been, but I'll take
I've
y'all's
never
word
been.
for it.
Yeah, I've never been either.
That's what I heard from people that go to Tech.
I heard they got to pay players more because it's in Lubbock. Because why would like the amount it is to go to Texas, you got to pay people more to go to Texas Tech because I would way rather be in Austin and take less than have this amount
for
in
sure. Have a life outside of school.
Not be in danger because you're automatically the wealthiest person probably in
exactly.
Oh, for sure.
So that's my take. It's just a crazy world.
It is crazy.
Now you're trying to making these platforms like NIL Go to see how much people are worth and can somebody actually gain this amount of money, and all that type of stuff that goes into that. Yeah, that if you work besides Nate, we work in college athletics, so we know how sticky it gets, if I might add. It gets a little crazy world.
I gotta tell you, I'm doing some work for Iowa athletics. Like I got a little side thing going on, so it's still in the sports world, which is good.
Okay, now
what an update you guys happened this week, so it should be good.
Oh yeah, Nate, let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. It was great having the three of you on. You guys are welcome back anytime. I don't know if you guys have any closing thoughts, but hope to see you guys again out here.
Yeah,
we are
it was a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, fellas.